Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And today I brought both of the Melody Beatty books with me. You guys know that these are my favorites. I have actually already read these today. I got up super early. I went to bed very, very early last night. I got a good night's sleep. So I was sitting out on the front porch and I got my front porch all ready. I actually did a video over there for my Peter Does Stuff channel showing off my cozy fall Halloween front porch. I love sitting out on my front porch. And I was reading all of my meditation books today. And so I picked the two that were my favorites to read over here on video for you guys. And these meditations aren't like super, super deep, but I think that they are good meditations to remind us of things to continue to work on or things that we've already been through. So I'm going to get into these right now. Let's start. I think I'm actually going to start with the language of letting go today. So let's get into this. October 5th. October 5th. Knowledge. Learn to let yourself be guided into truth. We will know what we need to know when we need to know that. We don't have to feel badly about taking our own time to reach our insights. We don't have to force insight or awareness before it's time. Yes, maybe the whole world saw a particular truth in our life and we denied it until we were ready to deal with it. That's our business and our right. Our process is our own, and we will discover our truths at the right time, when we are ready, when the learning experience is complete. The most growth-producing concept we can develop for ourselves and others is to allow ourselves to have our own process. We can give and receive support and encouragement while we go through this process. We can listen to others and say what we think. We can set boundaries and take care of ourselves when needed. But we still give ourselves and others the right to grow at our own pace, without judgment, and with much trust that all is well and is on schedule. When we are ready, when the time is right, and when our higher power is ready, we will know what we need to know. Today, I will let myself and others have our own pace and time schedule for growth and change. I will trust that I will be empowered with insights and the tools for dealing with those insights at the right time. And I really, really liked this meditation, you guys, because I think it's such a good reminder of, for me, it's a good reminder of it's on God's time, not mine, and that I'm going to learn these things when I'm supposed to learn them, and it's about going with, floating down the river of life, so to speak, and not forcing things, because I think there have been many moments in my life where I really wanted to force the knowledge, so to speak. And even if it's not like the knowledge of learning a lesson, it's wanting to force the outcome, wanting to force with quickness that I wanted this to happen or I wanted that to happen. And in reality, maybe that wasn't what was meant for me, I look back on my life and so many things that I wanted at a certain time in my life were not the things that ended up happening to me in my life. Little Blue Radley is down here. He is being so sweet, you guys. So hold on a second. He's really wanting to come up here and say hello to everybody. And you wanted to come and say hi to everybody? He said, Dad, don't force time. I think, when I look back on my life, like I was saying, one of the things is that there were so many things that I thought that I wanted at that time, whether they be relationships or, opportunities or whatever, that I look back on my life and they just weren't meant for me, and they just weren't supposed to happen the way that I wanted them to happen at that time. But they ended up turning out the way that they were supposed to happen, or at least it seems that way to me today, right? Like when I look at things kind of with this string of life, that's or string of, occurrences that has occurred in my life, when I look at those and they all have this kind of connectivity to it, it makes sense in retrospect that things weren't necessarily supposed to happen that way. I'm not big on people being like, I told you so's, and I'm not big on being an I told you so to other people. I think it's hard to not do that, especially sometimes with our closest friends, because I think when we are giving people suggestions or advice, it's because we care about them, really, right? It's because we love them and we want the best for them, right? And so then they're like, oh, I should have known this. And you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, I told you this 15 times, right? But you just didn't listen to me. It's like, it's really hard to say, I told you so. But I love when it says in here, yes, maybe the whole world saw a particular truth in our life and we denied it until we were ready to deal with it. And the reason why I like that is that there has been so many moments in my life when literally the moment that and I'm sure for you too, literally the moment that I realized it, I was like, okay, there has been so many people that have been telling me this for so long. And I've just refused to look at it. I have refused to take a look at this truth in my life until I was ready to accept this truth in my life. You know what I mean? Like, there have been so many people that have said, Peter, like, this is what's going on. Peter, maybe you need to take a look at this. Peter, like, look at this, right? And I'm just like, no, that's not it. And then one day you wake up and you have this moment of truth, this moment of clarity, right? And you're like, oh my God, they were right all along. Well, it doesn't have to be this shame-based moment where you're like, oh, they were all right, and now everybody's going to beat me up. Because I think often we don't want to accept those moments of truth, right? Because we're so afraid of saying to somebody, well, you were right, and whatever. What's the shame in saying, I wasn't really willing to accept the truth. I wasn't willing to see it because of my own desires and my own wants at that time. So, yes, thank you for pointing it out to me, but I had to see it for myself. I had to see my own truth through, you know? Reminds me of something that my dad said to me when I was much younger. You know, my dad said to me, Peter, I could show you all of the successes that I've had in my life and all of the mistakes that I've made in my life. And based on those successes and those mistakes, if you formed your life, okay, and you like followed my successes and didn't repeat my mistakes, you would have an absolutely amazing life, right? He said, except that you have to live your own life. I don't know that that would turn out for you the same way that it turned out for me. He said, so you have to make your own decisions. You have to go through and make your own choices in life and see how it turns out for you. And in reality, isn't that really what life is all about, Charlie Brown? I mean, isn't it though? Like, you know, I know that we really, really want to help other people and our friends and our family members and give them suggestions and whatever. And I guess in this moment, I'm not really talking about deep, deep issues. But it's like, I think at some point, you kind of have to like allow that, you know, person to make their own choices. You know, I remember like a friend of mine, I was always taught that you don't get in a relationship your first year of sobriety. Okay. Now, I will tell you why I feel so strongly about that. Because I didn't get in one relationship my first year of sobriety. I didn't get in 2 relationships. I got in 3 relationships my first year of sobriety. And the fact that I'm still here is unbelievable to me, you know, because if any one thing could have led me back to drinking or using my first year of sobriety, it would have been those relationships, you know, because I'm so codependent on people and they're defining who I am as a person and things like that. So, you know, I have since then really believed this suggestion that you don't have relationships your first year of sobriety because A, you don't really have anything to give anybody else, and B, you need to focus on yourself. This is your opportunity to work on yourself, right? Okay, so I was talking to this friend of mine, and she was, and this is not anybody I've ever mentioned in my videos or anything, so anyway, but she was like, we were talking about it, and she was like, yeah, I don't make that, I suggest to the people that I sponsor that if that it's a suggestion that you don't have a relationship for your first year of recovery. And I was like, so what do you do when the girls that you sponsor, they go against that? I mean, like, do you stop sponsoring them? Like, do you tell them that you really need to work? She's like, no, I asked them to bring to me, like, to be honest with me about the relationship and whatever. She goes, but I'm not going to stand in front of their pain. She goes, I'm not going to stand in front of their journey. Maybe there's a reason why they need to go through that. And it was such an eye-opening moment for me because I was like, oh my God. I think there's so many moments in our life. Take it away from sponsorship and recovery program, you know? Put it just on like friends and family and whatever. I mean, your kids, your grandparents, whoever. There's so many moments in our lives that we want to stand in front of somebody else's pain and not allow them to go through what they're supposed to go through to learn their own lessons. We have to learn our own lessons in life. We have to, you know? And I'm so thankful for some of the lessons that I've learned. You know, I think one of the greatest lessons that I've ever learned is that the way that I talk to people and the language that I use and the affect that I use in talking to people really has an effect on them, right? And so my tongue can be a weapon. And I don't want that to be the case, you know? I don't want that to be the case at all. And so I really, really had to take a look at that. And among so many other things that I've taken a look at. You know, I feel like the last couple years for me has just been, I feel like the last 5 years have really been years of intensive, you know, just evaluation of who I am. And I hope that as I get older, it's just even more of that, because the more evaluation I do, you know, it's like with an athlete that wants to get better, and then you take a look and you're like watching yourself back on TV, and then your coach is like, okay, we need to work on your backhand, or we need to work on your serve. I'm thinking of tennis right now, but you know, it's like, or I need to, you know, you need to work on your free throw or whatever, you know, it's like, it's all similar to that. And it's like, okay, well, what areas do I need to work on? How do I need to be a better person, you know? And I want that. And I want that because the more I work on being a better person, the more I enjoy life, and the life that I have been so graciously given, that I don't take for granted, not 1 second of any day. And I want to enjoy it to its fullest, right? But to enjoy it to its fullest means that there's a lot of things I have to work on. I'm not a perfect example of myself. I never will be, but I can be a person in constantly growing and learning and hoping to, you know, achieve this. And so there's going to be many moments in my life going forward until the day that I'm not here anymore, where I'm going to be like, aha, you know, I'm going to have many of these aha moments where the people surrounding me are going to say, we've been telling you that for a while. And that's okay. You know, that's okay. You know, I love the Buddha saying that what is the saying? I love it so much that I can't remember. When the student is ready, the teacher appears, you know, and I love that saying so much, that when the student is ready, the teacher appears, meaning that when I'm ready to learn something, or I'm open to learning that lesson, the lesson will appear to me, and I will be willing to see the awareness of it and take it in, and I will be willing to learn the lesson that time. Maybe not that time, maybe the second time, the fifth time, the ninth time, who knows, right? But at least I have to start being open to it. The openness and the willingness is a huge part of the learning process. So anyway, all right, I'm not going to read the other meditation today because that was a good one. I really, really enjoyed that one, and it was a good reminder for me. And so yeah. So anyway, I hope that you guys are having a magnificent, wonderful, fantastic, fabulous Wednesday. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.